to look. Hi. Things I'm noticing about human nature while on this tour. So I'm here on this tour. I have done San Francisco, LA, Houston, Austin. Now I'm here in Chicago. After taking Fort Wayne. Back to Paris, actually. I got noticed that I gotta like go do my interview for my French passport. Like finally. So I'm flying back for 4 days. Then I'm going to New York, DC, Toronto, Montreal. Now what am I doing? Basically, it's a series of exercises in which you're guided to, I don't know, become more clear on things that are probably just like like a chaos soup in your head, you know? Things that stress you out. Answers you already have. What you actually want to do in life. What you know you don't want to do in life. So we get it all on paper. So you get a packet of all these papers with the exercises in them. You get a big calendar where we organize your entire life, everything you want to do. I have the day broken down into 3 sections. The first section is what makes you you. And so, for example, boom, places you don't hate being. I might even actually change this because I don't know if it's getting me the answer that I want people to get to. The idea is that without thinking too far ahead, they're just coming up with places they enjoy being. And then my thinking is this exercise with this exercise, what they're good at, what comes naturally to them, they'll start drawing themes. Like they'll start looking at what they should be spending their time doing, whether it's for work or hobbies. Part 2 is everything what do you want to do in life? Imagine it's 40 years from now, what are the things you accomplished? Imagine it's 4 days from now, what are the things you accomplished? So I have them write that list out, then we categorize it, and then I come by and I sit next to you and I look at it all with you and I go, what? That's pretty much what I do with everybody. What? Like, why aren't you doing this? Anyways, I have a lot of notes on human nature, so I thought that I would share them with you. So things I'm noticing about human nature while on this tour. Oh, that's what I was saying. I'm doing 14 workshops. Here I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be exhausted. I'm gonna hate my life. Whatever, you just gotta like struggle through it. You're gonna get through it, Damon. Like you gotta do these big things. Actually, I'm like living my best life. Every time I come back to the States for the past few years, I have felt like my decision being in France was the best decision I've made in the past few years. Because when I come back, like, of course I'm seeing people I love. I'm seeing my friends and my family, but there's also like a solo journey that everybody goes on. You can be with all your people, but if you don't feel fulfilled with the place or like your purpose in the place, then it doesn't matter how much love you have. I just feel like now I'm enjoying my time more because I feel aligned. Like I have a purpose now here that makes sense for my life. And I needed to go to France and I needed to go travel the world and I needed to make all the language courses and whatever else I did, write a book to make my time in the United States feel like it's worth something. But something that keeps coming up in the workshops, and I swear we'll eventually get to it, is people hesitate making the move abroad because they feel like they then have to give up. They're like giving up their friends and their family. Yeah, like in some way you are. But you could also argue you're not fully satisfied or else you wouldn't even be at this workshop in the first place. Like clearly you do have your friends and family and your lifestyle, but again, it's this idea of like, but that inner path, like ton propre chemin, quoi, isn't being fully fulfilled. And so you gotta go do that. You know what? I think everyone has that inner chemin, inner path that they gotta go do. Like it's almost like what would we call it? A rite of passage? Or like, it's a required passage actually. Everybody has to do their path. Then maybe you move back and you be with your friends and family. At least you know you did your task. Like you did what you need to do on earth. And then you can settle down and maybe focus on the community portion. Do you get what I mean? So part of my job during this Global Citizen IRL is getting people to realize their path. Not their mom's path. Not their cousin's path, not their best friend's path. Like I tell people in the room, you know what? This is a very uplifting, energetic environment. We're getting things done. Like we're all cackling in here. It's a good time. It's Saturday. But when you leave this room and it's, next Monday morning, reality's gonna set back in, and I don't want you to fall back into that path, that like trap, that path that you were on. And then I catch myself and I'm like, I can't want this more for them than they want this for them. The first thing that I've observed, which I knew, and it's the whole reason I wanted to do this, is that people seem to generally feel stuck in life. Like their feet are in mud, they're doing things, but it's not getting them anywhere. They're trying to build, but they're building to maybe a goal that doesn't like excite them anymore. They feel stuck. Like they're doing the calculations, but the calculation isn't giving them the answer they want. And so I try to help them redo the equation. You do this, plus this, minus this, it's gonna get you this. Does that excite you more than this? Okay, well then you should probably do that. As simple as it sounds, I think that having somebody next to you who tells you, by the way, this is like our childish projection of a parental figure, having somebody next to you be like, yes, no, do this, don't do this, is what helps you decide. I say it's a childish projection because I think people look at me to give them the answer sometimes, or they look at their therapist to give them the answer, or they look at their teacher, or they look at their mom or their dad. Really, none of us, on n'a rien à voir avec ta vie. I mean, yes, like in an indirect way, but it's up to you. You get to decide. Like that's the cool part. You get to decide. Yes, you can ask all of our advice, but you're the one that gets to decide, and that's cool. That shouldn't be overwhelming. Like, oh, my life is up to me? Because so far it's felt like it's up to everybody else except me, right? So I try to like get people to reclaim that, like it's no. This is your life too. So whether you're Lisa from San Francisco, who is about to retire in 5 years, who doesn't really need to look at her career anymore, she needs to look at what she's gonna do with her retirement, or whether you're a million of these people who are still in college, who are considering what they wanna do for the next, 30, 40 years, or whether you're somebody like Ronnie from Austin who, okay, is maybe in the middle of her career, but now she's kind of like, but what do I want out of this next part of my career? I could say with all these people who have varying, wishes and desires and goals, the first step is still seeing it all. When you see all your options, you're like, I can only do 3 things here. Okay, which of the 3 do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to do this one. Okay, moving on. Great. Solution. Okay, so people feel like all this information about their life, what they want out of it is daunting. It should be daunting. Hello, this is your life we're talking about. Like, wake up. If it's not daunting at first, maybe you should be dreaming bigger. Ooh. Life information feels daunting. It's too daunting. They don't tackle it. They're unsatisfied and unfulfilled. Wrong answer. Life is daunting. Let's figure out what's even going on. Get it down on paper. Look at it all. Life can be fulfilling. Imagine that. And to recap the second note we just went over as well, yes, I do think there's some element of this that everybody watching and everybody coming to the workshop needs to recognize. It's not a bad thing, but you just need to recognize it. Are you always asking for everyone's advice? And are you always needing somebody else's permission? That's good to some extent. Especially like if you want the life that I'm living, then you should probably ask me a question or come to the session and get all your questions answered. That's smart. That is being smart. But I think some people, even when they know what they want, they need all this external validation. They need all these they need the confirmation from everybody else that it's okay. It's like, is that you? Maybe, okay, let's do this as an exercise. This isn't even one of the exercises. Let's look at the past 10 years of your life, yours. When you wanted to do something, did you like tell everybody about it first and get everyone's opinion on it before you actually did it? Anyways, what I was saying earlier about this childish projection of a parental figure, I think some people get stuck in that where they have all these hopes and dreams, but they need everyone else's advice first. They need everyone else's permission. They need everyone else's validation. They need this attention from others to then be okay with it. And a lot of times they're not getting that, which is why they're stuck. Because then they feel like they shouldn't do it. Well, my entire job on this tour is to say, yes, yes, you can. Here's how we're going to make it happen. Because that would be such a shame, like, that you live your entire life not doing what you want to do. The fuck? Like, the fuck is in my nose right now. Like, 1 second. You know, stop. In fact, most of the time, my entire job is just calling everybody out. You love doing this. You said you're doing this. Why are you studying that? Darn. Darn. What are you doing? What do I say? I'm going to say this in every session from now on. I've been saying it. What is the truth? And how will you admit it to yourself? When are you going to admit it to yourself? As much as I disagree with the concept of coming out, that's kind of what this is. With anybody watching, anybody coming to, what is the truth? You already know the truth. Great. How are you going to admit it to yourself? Not even how you're going to admit it. How are you going to become comfortable with it? Because that's the truth. It's inevitable. You might as well start getting comfortable with it. Part 2. Great. Now, how are you going to be comfortable with everybody else knowing too? That's the hard part too. So say you want to move to Argentina and you want to work remotely in Argentina. I don't know. Yeah. That's a mountain you're gonna have to jump off of to explain to your friends and family that, hey, you're moving away. Maybe your parents aren't going to approve of this career path. Maybe you studied this whole thing your entire life and now you're pivoting and doing this whole other thing. Yeah, that's a mountain you gotta jump off of. But you know it. Like, you know what you wanna do. That's only part 1 of it though. Part 2, like, you knowing what you wanna do is really like this much of, again, the equation. There's so many equations today. You knowing what you want to do is only 1/10 of the equation. Saying it out loud and with your chest and it not mattering what anybody else says about it, that's the hard part. You got to jump with the sharks, baby. You got to jump with the sharks. You better start learning how to swim. Today, one of the girls mentioned that she has a podcast and she's really, she's loving the podcast. She has no problem with the podcast. I could tell she has no problem. She's ready to do the podcast. But as soon as she posts an episode, she would find herself like deleting it. And again, it was that fear of being seen. People do this all the time. They have an idea that they want to do, but they can't get over this hurdle that their friends and family are going to see it. It leads me to this realization, like, this must be a side of you that your friends and family don't know. You know what? And test. What does it say that you can't even share what you deeply want to do, what you're here on earth to do, or your next big project? What does it say when you can't even share that to your friends and family? Your closest relationships, let's just put it that way. What does that say? That says, everybody, that either A, you gotta find your crew, your real crew, because your real crew would support everything you want to do. Doesn't mean you gotta drop those people, but you gotta find your crew still though. Or maybe these people are your crew, but it's actually it's a you thing, because you're not able to actually admit it, what you want to be doing. Maybe your friends and family, closest friends and family will actually support you, but they don't even know that you have a podcast. They're ready to listen to it about everything you're talking about on your podcast. But you got to get over the hurdle, you know? So one of two things, or just drop them. Drop them. Go get you some new friends. Create a whole new identity. Like, move to another country, create a whole new identity. Maybe that's why we're drawn to moving abroad. Maybe, hold on. Maybe that is why so many of us in the room are drawn to moving abroad, because you're able to create your identity from zero. There's no judgments from anybody because they don't know that there's anything to even judge you for. They don't know what identity you built up in the past to even judge you on it. You get to start fresh. Fitting to what I was just talking about, this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Thank you, BetterHelp, for always like holding me down on this channel. They're always there if I want to do a sponsored video, and I like them. Like, again, I use them. Still keep in contact with my therapist who I met on BetterHelp. I can also say that I feel like I was inspired by, well, let me just explain. Before I even went to therapy a year or two ago, I wanted to learn what therapists learn. I wanted to learn what therapists learn, which is partly why I went to London and took that whole like therapy class that I ended up dropping out of. It's partly why I'm interested in philosophy, sociology in general. I like learning about people. And so me going to therapy was also an opportunity for me to learn about people. So BetterHelp, if you don't know them, they are a platform that connects you to a licensed, trained therapist. If you don't like your therapist, the one you get matched with or that you choose, you can always switch them out. I did. We're going to keep talking about all this, but people come to these sessions because they have a lot of brain fog, and a lot of that brain fog is just like, I guess, masked, disguised anxiety. Like this background anxiety that we all live with. The background anxiety, I don't even know if it's avoidable. I think it's something we will all always have to live with, including therapists, by the way. But that doesn't mean that it has to be so like intoxicating. Constantly seeing what everybody else is doing, especially on social media now, wondering if they're doing things correctly, if you're doing things correctly, if you're even living in alignment with your values, what you want out of life. There's a lot of questioning. And especially if you like this channel, like that's what we do on this channel. We're always questioning the status quo, questioning if we could be better, questioning if we're even questioning things in the right way. So yeah, if you're looking to feel better about your life or your place in this world and you want to do therapy from anywhere in the world, you can use my link in the description box below, betterhelp.com/Damon for 10% off your first month. Again, you fill out a questionnaire, they match you with relevant therapists, you can easily switch, you're happy, they're happy, everyone's happy, the world's a better place, boom. Next, I'm realizing there are two kinds of people who at least come to this workshop. There are the people who have a million things they want to do. They just don't know which order they need to do them or where it all makes sense in their life. They're just interested in so many things. That's me. Then you have another group of people who it's just cloudy up there. Like, I don't know what I want to do. And my response to that is, yes, you do. Yes, there was a girl, Hazel. She was like, how do you decide where you want to go? And I was like, no, Hazel. You know where you want to go. It's just not clear to you yet. Let's look at column 1.1, 1.2, the exercises. It's going to become clear to you. Like, do you like the beach or do you like the forest? Do you need a city or do you need the country? Are you more solitaire or are you with the group? Are you going to stay at a hostel or hotel? You know these answers, Hazel. The next thing, I think there are also two groups of people. There are people who need a period of like rumination and maybe deeper thinking. Like, okay, yeah, actually it's this group. This is the group that needs that like, what am I doing? They need the rumination. These people who have the things, they don't need any more rumination. They don't need any more note taking. They need to just do the things. Honestly, you guys, it's an execution issue. It is an execution issue. I think the state of social media today has us all believe that we need a 15-step morning routine, that by the time you finish the morning routine, it's the nighttime routine. You got 15 more steps. You're not executing. It comes up at least once in each workshop where people say, but how do you get your stuff done? Like you seem to be, you have the courses, you do the book. How are you getting it done though? And I'm like, you guys, it's not even hard. Things are only hard when you don't like doing them. Me in high school, God, chemistry, like horrible. Geology, oh my God. Those things were hard for me. So if you are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and things are still hard, I feel like it's probably not, you're probably not doing what you're supposed to be doing then. It doesn't mean that what you want to do is not going to be hard work. Like all day long I'm busy, I'm working, but it's not like it's not enjoyable. Yeah, I'm realizing execution is the underlying skill. I think that people might need to refine a little bit more. In fact, one of the exercises after they write out all the post-it notes of things they want to do or fill it in on the digital template, I have them break it down step by step, like the most booty basic baby steps. To give you an example, in LA, there was a girl named Isabel. She came with her roommate and her roommate's sister. We had Jocelyn and Kanisha, one who wanted to take a solo trip, her first solo trip ever. That was exciting. Then there was the other one who wanted to take a break from work. Like she's just been working for the past 10 years. Actually, as a therapist, speaking of therapy. Then we had the roommate, Isabel, who wanted to go to England, but I realized she wasn't making the first step she needed to do. Again, jumping off the mountain into the sharks. Like you gotta jump off that cliff, Isabel. Do you know the website? Open the website. Open the website, Isabel. And I'm like, okay, by the time I do my rounds, Isabel, I wanna know what documents you need. And she's like, oh, okay, like I guess I'll do it, okay. I could tell she was like afraid. And I said, you know what, Isabel? Everyone in this room right now is doing something that's like a little scary. Everyone's like jumping off this mountain right now. Let's put it into perspective, Isabel. You're just clicking a button. Anyways, I come back around and you know what? She lit up. She's like, okay, here's how much money I have in my bank account now. Here's how much I need. I also need this document, which I already have. And all of this could be done in the next 6 months. She got it. Yes, Isabel. Yes. That's all you need to do, Isabel. That's all you need to do. The scary part is not having the information. When you have the information, there's nothing to be scared about. You know the options. You know how to get there. So, to recap this section, the person who is often in your way the most is yourself. Period. All right, remember how I was saying that everyone's on their own path, like everyone has their own chemin, like you gotta know what you want, what path you're on. Yes, okay, right. You gotta know, you don't have to have your whole life planned. In fact, that'd be really boring. That'd be so boring. That'd be so boring. That'd be so... Did you say it? Did you say it? Boring. Like, the reason life is fun is because there are some, like, twists, turns, arcs, plot twists. Like, that's the fun part about life. What? Outcast. You can plan a pretty picture, but you can't predict the weather. Part of the overwhelm is that people seem to think that they have to have it all figured out right now. Even if you did have it all figured out right now, I guarantee it's not gonna go that way. I mean, for my 20s, I thought my life was gonna be Damon and Joe. Actually, I think you can plan a pretty picture, but you can't predict the way. It's something Joe used to say, actually. She used to love Outkast. I thought I was gonna eventually get married to my ex. I thought we were just being young, dating other people, but like essentially we knew we were each other's partner. You can plan a pretty picture, but you can't predict the weather. In each session, I give people this janky Amazon calendar. And I've realized this might have to be my next thing. I've explained this. I want to make my own. I want to sell this. I want to sell my own. This is all you need to plan out In fact, this is all you need to plan out. You need to know your next 90 days. The entire point is that people are just trying to figure out what this next season of their life is for. I'm there for like 2 seconds to help put the signage up. This way. This way, not this way. A lot of y'all flew in. Like, we had Nomi who flew in from Atlanta to Austin. We had people driving down from Dallas to Austin or over from Houston to Austin. In LA, we had people driving up from San Diego, people flying in from Phoenix. People are traveling for this workshop, which is, I didn't realize. Like, what? Obviously, I'm flattered. But I want to say that I'm also learning a lot about myself from the people in the class. So in LA, for example, there was a girl named Sabine, and after she did whatever, like exercise, what was it, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3? She's like, I'm realizing that all of this is abstract. Like, things I'm drawn to, things I'm good at, things I'm gifted with, like, it's all in the mind. And almost like too much in the mind, because it's hard to like compartmentalize and just put it away sometimes. And I was like, that's me. Sabine, thank you, because that just helped me now. That just helped me. I feel the same way. For people who are creative or who are, I don't know, always into philosophy and psychology, and these are abstract things. Like, they almost don't exist to some extent. It's all abstract. It's not tangible. It's not like I'm a carpenter, a construction worker, or a chef. Those are very with your hands kind of things. But when it's, geez, even this, yes, there's a camera, but it's still, like, I'm just in this room existing. I was able to draw a connection in my own life that I truly feel like I can turn off when I'm A, playing tennis, physical thing, finally, like focused on a physical thing, or B, working out. Like, again, I have no problem going to the gym or getting myself to do something active because it's like welcomed, like finally, please. We had Alessandra from Austin who, I basically told this story about how I was getting my fade and how my barber kept asking me like, oh, so today in Austin, the barber I went to asked me how the females are down in Paris. I was like, okay, 1, is it not obvious? 2, down? How is it down there in Paris? And I was like, no. And Alessandra said something like, I think the thing that's most depressing about being in the States is the lack of curiosity. And I was like, yes. That's the sentence I've been waiting to hear. Like, that's a sentence that I felt. It's a lack of curiosity because the United States, we're born to think like we're the example. Everybody wants to be us. We're taught that like everybody wants to be here. And then we go abroad and realize not everybody wants to be in the States. And Isla was also. You guys had to be there. You had to be there. Isla in Austin also said something like, yeah, there's like a part of this human experience that people here in the States seem to not fully understand, and they just disguise their lives with these material possessions, or getting the new iPhone each year is like a highlight of their year, or waiting for the TV, waiting for their favorite show to come on. Like that's the thing that like drives them in life. And these are all like material things, and so they're not getting it. They're not getting this deeper quality of life that everyone else around the world seems to understand. These are generalizations, yes, but I think anyone who lives in the United States kind of knows what we're talking about. It's just consumerism. You know why I think that is? I think because the cities aren't built to be walkable. It's such a destination kind of country. You're in your car, you're going to the next place, there's no like serendipity of life. You're not like meeting people on the street. It's place to place all the time. And in between these places are just like Marshall's, Target, the grocery store. And those are just places of consumption. But it's hard to also act like it's not a good place to live. Like, it's a good quality of life. Everything works for the most part. Everyone is nice. Like, you got a Whole Foods, and geez, yesterday I was looking at sriracha pita chips. I don't know. It's like you have it all on paper. It's like the rich person's house that you don't want to be at for some reason. Like they have it all. But like, bitch, you got it all. But there's a spiritual thing that's just not there in that house. The last thing I'll mention is that I'm actually surprised at how present fear is in the room. I mean, and these are people who aren't actually fearful at all because they're coming to talk about these things in public. They're actively finding solutions. Like, they're there to fix it. I'm thinking of, wow, if these are the people who are taking the step to actually change their life, there must be a million more who live with fear and let it consume them. Basically, people who spent their entire lives doing one thing, now they know deep down like it's not for them. But they're experiencing the sunken cost fallacy where they've invested so much time, money, and resources in this one thing, and now it's quote unquote dumb, like on paper, to leave it all. Yeah, technically, maybe, yes, sure. Like on paper, yeah. But again, I think sometimes that shit will eat you alive. So yeah, these things are on paper and make sense. It's that like deeper knowing that's gonna eat you alive sooner or later. Then you have another kind of fear, which is, fuck, I have so many things I wanna do. I don't even know where to start. That's also some sort of fear. You're overwhelmed and you're afraid to start to some extent. Another example is that people have all these hopes and dreams and they're ready to do it, but they're afraid of what their friends and family will think. Fear. Another example, you don't even know how you want to spend your life. You have so much you need to figure out. You have no clue what you're even interested in. Somehow you're on a moving train, but you don't know what the destination is. To even peel through all these layers, that's going to be scary. Fear, to figure out what you want to do. Maybe to some extent you feel inadequate by comparison to everyone else who seems to know which train they're on. And you're like, well, damn, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm not capable. Maybe I'm not competent. Fear, disguised as overwhelm, disguised as I can't give up this whole path since I've spent my entire life doing it this way that now I can't switch now. Fear that they're giving up their career, fear that there's too much space in between jobs on their resume, fear that by moving abroad they're gonna be lonely, fear that by staying in their country they're gonna be lonely, fear! Like fear as the main driving force of your life. That ain't cute. That ain't cute. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cute. That's not cool. I already said that. That's not cool or cute. I wanted a third adjective. That's not cool. That's not cute. That's not confident. There you go. It seemed like this group had a lot of things they wanted to do, but they didn't know. For example, I'm afraid of planning and never doing. Like, I heard a lot of fear, and it's something that I hate that people have fear. Society loves to scare you. Whether it's a distant family member or the nightly news, it seems like there's always this reminder that comes around every so often that's like, oh, you're really excited about that? Well, don't be, because that's not real life. Maybe not for you, but it can be real life. It's a matter of like being around the right people. I think half of the whole workshop is just getting people to realize that they're just not around their people. Also a lot of fear around these invisible government entities. Like there were people applying for visas, but they would say things like, well, what do I say? Like, what do I say when I'm in the room? As if they're doing something wrong, or like they're gonna get caught when they're already doing everything legitimately. People who wanted to start businesses, but they didn't know if they should, I don't know, have this business structure or that business structure, and should I pay an accountant? Like, I don't know how to do this stuff. It's fear. It all comes down to fear. And yeah, all these doubts and concerns are reasonable, and any normal person would have the same doubts. Anyways, so I bring it all up because I wasn't expecting for fear to be so present. Like, I didn't realize that what I was actually doing in the room was helping people be courageous. Like, I didn't think that's what this was about, but it seems like that's what this is about, actually. It's not even about travel. All right, last two things of this motivational pep talk that this always seems to turn into. Oh my God. Like, why does this always happen? Okay, the first thing, I just want to say that the strongest position you could ever be in is being able to walk away because it's your decision. Whether it's walking away from a cushy job that fills up your bank account every year, but also fills you with dread every day. Whether it's walking away from a hobby that you used to like that you don't like anymore. Whether it's moving out of a city that you feel super comfortable in, but don't feel stimulated by. The strongest position is being able to walk away. This is so interesting, I'm sorry. Like just seeing the different people in each apartment, and like those two don't even know that they're up, like the other one's up. But I can see them both. Like she's gonna water her plants and he's doing something on his computer. Like, do they know each other? Fuck, this could be a really cool show. And how everyone in the building is actually connected, but they don't know it. This is the kind of stuff that gets me pumped up, fired up to hear somebody who had it all. And then they're like, I had it all, but it's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted anymore. You know what, I just went to this meeting in Los Angeles and this is what kind of happens every time I'm in a room with people who have their own businesses. They're always, I feel like, telling me that I could be scaling. I could be making more money. I could be doing this and I could be doing that if I hired more people to help me edit. And I always have to remind them that money is not the metric I judge my life by anymore. Because I realize I have enough already. So I need to find other moyens de me nourrir, I don't know, to make it all worthwhile. Don't get me wrong, the money definitely helps. Money helps. Everyone should have money, yes. But it's not everything. And so I always respond to these people like, I know, I could have somebody edit this video and I could film another one tomorrow, but you're missing the part in the equation where I like to edit the video. And that it's not always about output and scaling and making more videos and making more money. And again, to do what with? I'm already living how I want to live. Like I already buy the cold brew I want to buy. I technically could have got a better place, but then I'm paying more and I'm like, I don't need more. Like I'm only here for 4 nights. This is fine. Do you see what I mean? You see what I mean? You got to know who you are and you got to be okay to walk away from the strongest position to be in is the one where you can walk away from anything. Because you know what chemin you're on. I think we can end it there. I feel like I wrapped it all around. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, can you let me know, do you guys like the long form? I like the long form. I'm a long form guy. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Boop. What's in my hair? This was in my hair the whole time, this stick. Wait, this was in my hair the whole time? Oh my God, like nobody said anything. Oh my God. I just met somebody, after the workshop, I went to this coffee shop and I met Janelle. Janelle, you didn't tell me there's a stick in my hair. It's a third place. Third space. Whatever the word is. Not to mention the fact that it's just nice to be around excited people and people who want to take their life somewhere. At the beginning of each session, I say, does anybody have any immediate questions that you need answered? And no one has a question. And then it's 5 minutes, we're about to walk out of the door. Thank you all so much for coming. Damon, I got a question. By the way, when you guys see this angle, like, honestly, my arm does not look like that in person. It's just the angle of the camera. Like, don't get me wrong, it's big. It's big, but it ain't that big. That group was hilarious. I was laughing the whole time. Like, again, it's cool to... it's just like there's too many people who I could be friends with. Really puts it all in perspective. The other day when I was going to dinner with Teachable at South by Southwest and I had planned it all perfectly to arrive on time, but then as I'm driving through downtown Austin, the car gets hit. Liberty Mutual calling. Excuse me.
Just reaching out regarding this accident that happened on the 10th.
It was more of an annoyance just because I booked a Lift. It was, I don't know, like $9. And then when I got out of the Lift, because we had taken so long, probably an hour, it ended up being like 25. And that's really all I was calling about. All right, so my Lyft got in an accident in you know, Austin. She's so far on this tour, earthquake, experienced an earthquake in LA, Lyft gets in an accident, there's a naked person right here in Chicago, and what else? I don't know, I've been having such a good time, actually. So I thought when going on this tour of 14, I'm doing 14 workshops, and I think like 8, sorry, I didn't mean to look again. I didn't mean to look, I don't even know what I was saying. Okay, whatever, let's move on. Sorry, you had to be there. I wrote this down, but I can't remember why. The answers don't always come from thinking. They come from doing. What is there to be afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? People? Fuck people! Fear is the lack of preparation. Maybe people are afraid of moving out of the country because they feel like they're gonna be lonely. They feel like they can't get a job, can't get an apartment. These are all things you need to prepare for. People will just be speaking freely, and like unbeknownst to them, they're dropping knowledge bombs. So throughout the day, I'm like, I just want to say some of them today. I think Nomi mentioned, if I can help someone, it's helping me. Boom. Day 2, suckers. Going so well, such a fun group again. You're like freed. Freed from the judgments of others. There's a philosopher. Period. There's a philosopher. There is one. No, there's one called Jean-Paul Sartre. And he's famous for this quote, hell is other people. L'enfer c'est les autres. And what he means is that, not that other people are actually hellish, but that you will always have to live in a world with other people, and you have to live with their judgments of you no matter what you do. So you better get comfortable with what you want to do. Because no matter where you go, what you do, Peanut Gallery's going to be talking about it. So you might as well, at that point, be doing what you want. Okay, whew. You know what room I'm going to be happy to be in tomorrow? Mine with all you guys. Really cool room to be in. It's such a cool room to be in because everybody gets it. Like, everybody gets it. And that was the whole point. They get it. They get that life is not about climbing up a career ladder, or if you're gonna do it, that it's just a phase in life, like to stack your cash to then go like live another way. Like, they get it, you know? Or maybe they don't want to chase the career ladder, they want to work in something they love. Yeah, they get it. They understand that they just happen to be born somewhere, and that doesn't mean that they have to spend their entire lives in that one country. They get it.